there, YouTube! It is thunderstorming outside, so apologies for any rain or thunder you may hear. It just started happening. Remember how I made that whole like May TBR video to try and get myself out of my slump? Well, it's the end of June and I have only finished one of those books. So I'm really trying to fix my reading slump. It's not going great, but I am definitely on a roll right now. I just finished a book and I just started one like immediately afterwards, so hopefully I am going to get my numbers back up because I really miss reading. Speaking of reading and reading slumps, I realized it's June and I have not given an update on anything that I have read this year. I think I have a big enough pile of things that I can show you that I feel like will constitute an actual wrap-up video. So here's my mid-year reading wrap-up because I've only read 11 books this year so far. A lot of these are manga and graphic novels too, so Alright, so the first thing that I read this year was My Hero Academia Volume 1. So this is a shonen manga and it is one of the best series that I have seen in a long time. Anime is actually super popular right now and I love it. I watch it like every week. I can't get enough. But this is the first volume of the manga and this story is about a world where everyone has a quirk or like a mutant power. Most of the population has these quirks, but there are a few people in the world who don't have quirks. They're born without any powers. And one of these people is Izuku Midoriya, the main character. Even though he doesn't have a quirk, he wants to be the world's #1 hero. He wants to help people and save people and be like his idol, All Might. So this series is sort of his journey on becoming a hero and training to be a hero, interacting with other kids who want to have the same goal as him. The series is basically about Izuku and his quest to become the world's #1 hero and his time spent in a high school for kids who want to be superheroes. This series is so good. There are so many different types of awesome characters, and if you like fun times, then just read My Hero Academia. I actually have the next 2 volumes. I have volumes 2 and 3. I just haven't finished them. I think I'm halfway through volume 2. So I should just finish that up real quickly, shouldn't I? Volume 1 I gave 5 out of 5 stars. Next up I read Wires and Nerve Volume 2 Gone Rogue. So this is the second volume in the graphic novel series for the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. So this is actually the conclusion of it. I didn't think it was the conclusion. I thought there was going to be more. So I was very shocked that this finished up, that this kind of wrapped up in this. So this is a story that focuses on Aiko, and I'm not going to go too much into this story because it is the sequel to the first one. But it's just kind of like an after story and kind of wraps up some loose ties at the end of the Lunar Chronicles. It does focus on Aiko, but you do definitely see all of the characters that we know and love, and you get to interact with them and see what they're up to and how they help Aiko on her journey. This came out in January and I actually saw it in the store a few days before it was supposed to come out, so I snatched it up real quick and read it like right away. I've been on this for a long time. I really like that this series got to continue, and especially that it got to continue in graphic novel form, because the Lunar Chronicles is like 4 books and like 2 novellas, so that's like a lot of like the same type of content for a series, and I like that this kind of after story was put into graphic novel form, so you still get the same story and characters that you love, but it's just in a different format, and it really helps to like break the story up or like make you want to read it a little bit more because it is in a different type of format. So that's really cool. I wish more series would kind of do like graphic novel continuations, like give us a little story afterwards, but like as a graphic novel. So yeah, I gave volume 2 Gone Rogue 4 out of 5 stars. Next up I read some more manga, and I actually read a whole series, and that was volumes 1 through 6 of Honey Hunt. This is a series by Miki Aihara, and it is actually a series that I reread. I read this a few years ago, I think when I was in college, and I wanted to pick up the whole series, and reread it because I really, really liked it. So this is a story about Yura, and she wants to get revenge on her terrible, terrible parents by becoming a like famous actress, and believe me, it makes sense within the context of the story. So this is about Yura kind of learning how to be an actress and learning her way around the entertainment world, and also about her romantic entanglement with two brothers, Kyuta and Haruka. This series is definitely like a teen shoujo manga. This series is really fun. It does deal with a lot of Japanese entertainment industry type things, so if you like that, then definitely check this out. If you like Johnny's Idols for any reason, then definitely check this out because it references Johnny's Idols a lot. It's a really, really dramatic series. Definitely do not agree with a lot of Yura's decisions. I think it's like it hits a sort of like nerve. You know, if you want something that's really like dramatic and like romance and fame and things like that, then definitely read Honey Hunt. The only problem with this series is that it is on hiatus, and it has been on hiatus for like 10 years, so I don't think it's ever going to be finished. There are 6 volumes. I picked these all up on thrift books, and it ends on kind of a cliffhanger, and I've been waiting for years for this to get renewed, but it just hasn't yet, so I just have given up hope that this is ever going to be finished. I think Honey Hunt overall as a series would get 3.5 stars from me. First book that I finished this year was Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I have finally read this book. I have been wanting to read this book since it came out so long ago. I actually almost bought it when I was at New York Comic Con like a million years ago, but got distracted by Carry On by Rainbow Rowell, so I did not pick this up until very recently. Since I've been wanting to read this for so long, and since a lot of people really like it, I think I kind of built up an image of what this book was going to be like, and it was not like that at all, obviously. So that kind of like messed with me a little bit, but that was my own doing and not the book's doing. There were a few things that surprised me. The main character, Kaz, especially, he is not what I imagined at all. He's a little more cold and a little more like ruthless than I thought he was gonna be, so that kind of threw me for a loop. I don't think I really like him that much. It's mostly the other characters that I like a lot. I'm a little bit worried about this book because I haven't read the Grisha trilogy, and this book is a kind of spin-off of the Grisha trilogy. It's set in the same sort of world, and there might be characters from there that show up, or they might show up in the next one or something like that. I don't know. There's some sort of connection to it, but I felt like maybe I would have benefited a little bit more just like understanding the world and this kind of like war that they're talking about and this army that they're talking about. I would have understood that a little bit more if I had read the Grisha trilogy, but I definitely don't think that I needed to. Six of Crows does a really good job of explaining the world. It's just I wanted more of the world. This is a heist novel. I haven't really read a lot of heist novels before, and it was a lot of fun. I really liked it. Can't wait to read Crooked Kingdom. I gave Six of Crows 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was A Gathering of Shadows by B.E. Schwab, and this is the second book in the Shades of Magic series. Okay, so I liked this book, and I like this series, and I like this world, and I like all the characters and things like that, but I feel like this book maybe could have been like half as long, and we still would have gotten the same amount of stuff from it. I feel like this book definitely suffers from like second book or sequel syndrome, where it's like not as great as the other one, and it's kind of just like a bridge between the story in the first one and the second one. It doesn't really have its own purpose. Felt like it took a very long time to get to the like main event of this story, and I feel like we didn't get to spend enough time with the main antagonist or really knowing what they're out for. Yeah, there was also a few things about the characters that surprised me. One character in particular I kind of read as sort of like an asexual type of character, but apparently that's not the case. I did read the first book of this as an audiobook, so maybe that kind of like skewed my perception of the characters and kind of where the story was going, things like that. But yeah, there were just a few things that kind of like surprised me in this book about characterization, because it just didn't seem fit with what I understood the characters to be. But I'm really excited to finish up this series, kind of see where it goes. I want to know how this all comes together and what from here is important towards the end of the story. So yeah, A Gathering of Shadows gets 3.5 stars from me. The last book, the one that I finished yesterday, is The Dark is Rising by Susan Cooper. This is the second book in the Dark is Rising sequence, and I love this book so much. Okay, so this is actually a reread for me. The first time I read this book, I was in 6th grade, and it was kind of one of those books that got me through that 3-year gap of Harry Potter books, and it's just definitely a series that I have loved ever since. I've never finished the series. I recently bought all of the books, and I am going to work my way through them, but The Dark is Rising is just so good. So not a lot of people know about this series because it is pretty old. I think it was originally written in like the 60s and 70s, so it's like pretty old fantasy book. The book is about a kid named Will who on his 11th birthday finds out that he is actually one of the old ones, this sort of immortal magical being whose job is to protect the light, and they are constantly at battle with the dark. Will's job in this book is to collect the 6 signs of light, I think, and that will be, they're kind of one of these things of power, and they will help aid the light in finally defeating the dark. This is a book that is full of Arthurian legend and British folktale, and it is such a magical, beautiful book. It feels like it's a very kind of like sleepy type of book, but it's just feels like it's full of old magic, which just sounds like utter bullshit, but that's the way it feels when you read this book. I read this book in 6th grade and I had a pretty good time understanding it then, so I definitely think it's like an older middle grade or like younger YA or YA type of book, but it's just like, it's so good. So many good things about The Dark is Rising, and I feel like more people should read this series if you can find it, yeah, definitely 5 out of 5 stars for me. That's everything that I've read. I think some people read the amount of books that I have read this year in like 1 month, so like I really need to get on it. I said I would read 30 books this year and I just haven't. Hopefully I'm on a bit of a roll right now, so hopefully I can read 30 books this year, maybe. Like, I just want to read more. I really miss reading and I'm having such a hard time with it, and I just want to read more. I need to prioritize it a little bit more. I started On the School for Good and Evil, and hopefully I'll be able to get through this really quickly. It's a middle grade book and the type is pretty big and it reads pretty easily, so the only reason I stopped reading last night is because it was almost 2:30 in the morning and I needed to go to sleep. Hopefully I can make my way through my May TBR, even though it's the end of June, and kind of catch up and just do all of the reading for the rest of the year. That's my goal. Guys, more reading wrap-ups and give you more updates. So yeah, that is a lot of thunder. So let me know in the comments how much you've read this year. Are you on track for your goals? Are you behind? Or have you exceeded it? You know, let me know. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more bookish and nerdy content from me. That's all I've got for you guys today. I'm Chrissy Lou. Till next time, mata ne!